Hi, my name is Phil and I teach drums here in Eastbourne. I've been playing both professionally and as a hobby ever since I was very small. Most of my lessons take place at the Studio Ravebugs here in Eastbourne, but we also do kids' birthday parties, corporate drumming events and some after-school clubs. If you can't make it to the studio here in Eastbourne, we run lessons over Skype and FaceTime to students all over the world. The idea behind this short video was to give you a feel for your first lesson and give you a taste of what playing the drums is all about. I hope you like. So you've come along for your first drum lesson, you've never played drums before and you have no idea where to even start. Well, it's easy. Start by sitting at the drum kit. You sit down, be nice, make yourself nice and comfortable, make sure you're well balanced, comfortable on the seat. If you look down on the floor, you'll see two pedals. One for your right foot, one for your left foot. Just place your feet on those pedals. Don't worry too much about where exactly on the pedal they're sat at the moment. Just get nice and comfortable with your feet on the pedals, and this big drum in the middle should be somewhere between your knees. So as you are sat at the drum kit, most of the drums around you and the cymbals are pretty much infinitely adjustable. You can move them all over the place. The only one that's a bit of a pain to move is that bass drum right down the bottom there, because it's big and it's on the floor and a lot of stuff is usually clamped on top of it. So what we do is we get comfortable with the bass drum. We sit on our seat, so our leg is at about 90 degrees and the top of our leg is pointing towards the bass drum. Our foot is pointing towards the bass drum, so we don't want any of this going on. And then everything else we can move to be comfortable from there. As you can see, I've got my left foot, I've moved my hi-hat, so my left foot is in much the same sort of position as my right, facing the hi-hat, and my foot is straight on the pedal. Once we've got ourselves sat comfortably at the drum kit and everything is where we want it, the next thing to do is to pick up some sticks. Now, if you go on the internet, you will find hundreds of people arguing about the best way to hold drumsticks. There's only a couple of rules really. Firstly, and I'll pull my sleeves up so you can see, you don't want to be bent in any awkward angles like this, which might damage your arms or any of your muscles, ligaments, tendons, etc. You need to be nice and comfortable. The other thing that needs to happen is the stick needs to be able to move. So when you're playing, the stick needs to move within your hand slightly, like that. The main grips you'll encounter when you're watching people playing drums are traditional grip or matched grip. I don't think there's much difference between the two. So long as the sticks can move and you're comfortable, choose whichever is best for you. It may take you a few goes on the drum kit using different grips before you settle upon one. It's a good idea to maybe try all of them out, but don't obsess about it. Don't beat yourself up. Even in matched grip there are differences. Some people hold them like this, with the backs of the hands facing the ceiling. Other people use the thumbs facing the ceiling. Some people even do a mixture of the two. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you, whichever is the most comfortable for you or the most natural. So long as you're not damaging yourself and the sticks can move, they can bounce. It really, really doesn't matter. You've got yourself nice and comfortably sat at the drum kit. You've got your sticks in your hand. It's time to introduce what we see in front of ourselves here. Now, not all drum kits will look exactly the same. Some will have more drums, some will have fewer drums. Same with the cymbals. Some people have lots and lots of cymbals. Some people only have one or two. But the general rules are the same. We have tom-toms of various sizes. I have 3 here. Sometimes you might have 4 or 5. Sometimes you might just have 1 and 1. I tend to call these tom-tom number 1, tom-tom number 2, tom-tom number 3. You'll see some books and some teachers will refer to them as high tom, mid tom and low tom, which is fine until you add another one or two or you start taking toms away, then it gets a little confusing. So I stick with the 1, 2, 3. We have the big bass drum on the floor there. We have the snare drum in front of us just here. And then we have our cymbals. We have a hi-hat. We have crash cymbals. And this big one here is called a ride cymbal. You'll learn more about all of these as we go along. But for now, that's the names of the drums we have in front of us. Now let's get on to actually learning to play a pattern, shall we? Okay, well as you can see, I've stripped most of the drum kit away so you can see the three main things you need to concentrate on for the first few patterns that we're going to learn. We're left with just the bass drum, the snare drum and the hi-hat. You may have noticed this here and here. This is my Yamaha EAD10. I use this for recording the sound of the drums, and it saves me having to mic them all up for YouTube videos and things like that. So don't worry about any of this. You probably won't see this on a drum kit that you're using. All we're going to concentrate on is this big bass drum, snare drum and the hi-hat here. For this first pattern, all you've got to do is be able to count to 4. And you've got to be able to count to 4 in a nice, even and regular way. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you've got the hang of that, every time you say a number, hit the hi-hat. Now at the moment we're using the hi-hat closed, so we have our foot on the pedal, pushing down slightly just to keep these two cymbals closed together like that. And we hit it on the top, about here, with the tip of the stick. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next we're going to bring in the bass drum. And what we do with the bass drum is we're going to lift our foot and bring it down onto the bass drum head, like that, on number 1 and number 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some people like to play the bass drum with their heel down and just use their ankle. Other people like to lift their heel up and use a bit more of their leg. Whichever is easiest for you. It really doesn't matter at this stage. Pick up your other stick, hold it in the centre of the snare drum with the tip touching the snare drum. And remember, from holding the sticks, we have to hold them lightly so the sticks can move and comfortably. And we're going to hit the snare drum on number 2 and number 4. So now we put all of that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you are. There's your first pattern. If I was to speed it up, it would sound something like this. It's as simple as that. Practice it until it sounds nice and smooth and regular. And I hope to see you in another video soon.